Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to The Good Show here, episode 37 at The Good Studio. My name is Semmler. I'll be your host for this evening's show. Sitting to my right, of course, is James Magnificent. How are you doing, man?
I'm magnificent.
Yep, as we all know. Sitting in the corner, we have our two guests. Special one as well, because Newman finally made it back.
Yay!
Finally, man. Welcome back.
So I'm away for like 2 weeks, and the studio looks completely different. And James got a haircut. It's crazy.
Got a
Exciting
table turned down.
times.
And we got Mike Vandriel over there in the corner. We have our SC2 observer extraordinaire, and sitting handling the production tonight is Trans, as I'm sure you all noticed. But
hence the on-time start, right?
exactly. Kebab is more important than the good show.
Yep.
But
Don't buy us kebab anymore tonight, guys, please.
Yeah, Trans already has his own kebab. No
Trans
need
already
to send
has his
any
own.
kebab here.
So that's the thing. I'm not on the show for a week, and you guys get food ordered. What is this?
We're watching it's like,
It's
yeah,
no
that's
fun, man.
pretty much it.
Yeah, no, I'm sitting there eating Mr. Two. He made us egg cake. It was fucking awesome. And then I just turn on the show, and I see you guys unwrapping shit down here in the studio live, just eating live on the show. It's just like, okay, the fuck are we watching right now?
It's a cooking show.
Best esports show
Best
in the world.
esports show in the world, clearly.
In the world.
Speaking of esports, we got our general news for tonight, and we're going to go ahead and kick it off with GameSpot launches Game Center. It's a rival esports talk show that just started.
You really call it a
this
rival,
week.
though?
I'd venture to say so. They're covering esports half an hour a week, I believe. So that's kind of like the gist of what we do here, right? I think.
But
Like,
really
we're supposed to be
professional
talking about
compared to
that?
us.
They're really, yeah, they
Yeah,
are
they're
really.
really
Well, they had a better
compared to
host,
us.
I'll say that much at
I
least.
mean, they really.
Oh, jeez.
What's
Nice.
going on?
They got better
Oh,
production,
shit.
too.
Mike's been fucking with my shit.
No.
Yes,
Blame it on Mike.
So,
I
yeah.
was just gonna say they have a lot better production and technology than we do, but I was gonna make a joke about that. But they might actually have that with trans producing.
Yeah, so I watched a bit of it. Who's the main host?
Travis Gifford.
Well, he's meant to be a
the
fill-in
lead-
but
right now.
He's not meant
He's
to
a
be.
stand-in.
He's a stand-in host. He sits at a really nice desk with bird shit on the window. Don't know if you guys noticed that. I don't know if we should get a picture of it. There's bird shit on the window with the studio shot. And then he takes you through the topics. You know, it's a short, concise, kind of esports show from GameSpot. And then on a TV from the 80s, they bring in 90s.
yeah.
They bring in Slasher and Gutex. And Gutex was really quite good on it because his microphone quality was nice and it looked decent. And you were like, I can accept a call in, over the 90s magic box. And then when Slasher came on, it was like his mic was awful and it was just annoying. But the content was a little bit thin in terms of they did like some of what's going on, and then they just threw in an interview at the end from, I think it was an MLG.
Well, it wasn't even the end. It was halfway. It was like 15 minutes
Well,
into
it
the
was-
show. It was
yeah.
a half an hour show. 15 minutes of the show was the interview.
Yeah, which was also up on GameSpot in just the VOD. So if you really wanted to see
Yeah.
the interview, you would have clicked it anyway, or they
Oh
could
no,
have
they
said.
they put it on afterwards.
Okay.
He actually
Well,
received feedback saying, "Could you please separate the interview from the show?" And
Yeah. But
An
either
hour
way,
after.
it's a good GameSpot, and more people are doing esports shows, really.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a pilot, right?
Yeah, it
So
was.
they're intending, they're looking for a new host. They want to get it better. I mean, I was really envisioning something much closer to what Fuck Slasher was, because I liked Fuck Slasher, and
Yeah, Fox Slash was
and
really
I don't
good.
really know if I liked this all that much, but I think they'll,
I think the target audience isn't us though. It's
Yeah, no,
probably
the-
the GameSpot audience. So it's
converting
in
the
that way-
mainstream,
in that way,
right?
it's-
That
it was good.
fairy
It was a good
tale.
show. But I mean, I think they need to buy a new TV, and they need to buy Slasher a new mic because he's
Well-
been having that mic for years. It seems.
I mean, I feel like for someone like GameSpot, we managed to get everyone here in the studio, and if GameSpot wants to do this really well, I'd rather them just have Slasher do a one-man slow with Fuck Slasher again, or actually get some people together, because
Yeah.
they're GameSpot. They should be able to do this if they're serious about it, I feel like.
they have massive budget compared to us, so it's
Yeah.
it's a bit odd.
I agree. Fuck Slasher. It's
Yeah.
like it was a better product than what they put on.
Yeah, I mean, Fox Slash was a really good product.
Yeah, I was expecting Fuck Slasher with really nice graphics and overlays, so when he was talking about something, it would come up with like, the bracket, the topic, whatever, but it was like they didn't really have overlays and artwork done too much either, except for like the intro that said Game Center.
Yeah, not so much. It was just the intro. They did have good production bringing in the clips and the images and everything to go along with the topics, though. That much was pretty cool. Apparently, that's that's like one guy doing that as well. So they have like one guy in production who's handling everything. So hats off to him for putting everything together. I mean, it was a really good show. I think it's just like, they just need to iron out the spacing of the topics as well. Like 60-70% of the show was League of Legends, and it felt like it was just a breeze.
I think he said
How was that a really good show?
Pardon me?
How's that a really good show?
It
If
was
you just then said,
well for a pilot to start things off.
I
For a
mean,
pilot,
the host Travis as well he's basically the JP of the LoL community. So
oh, is he?
yeah, he's a big.
JP's gonna like that one.
Guy, so
Well, it's like GameSpot. He does all the interviews for GameSpot at the LCS.
Yeah,
so
he
it's
does.
like-
Yeah, coverage for them at MLGs and at.
so I'm guessing
everything
that's why
else.
it's a bit League of Legends heavy. So
Imagine if Travis and JP had a show together.
State of Esports.
That'd be awesome.
That'd be good. He made a show called Real Talk, right? Travis?
Did he?
Yeah. And he's like, all right, guys, get ready for, I think it was with like Snoopy, and like, get ready for Real Talk with Snoopy. And then this is after he already made State of the League, and State of the Game, so that's kind of funny.
JP
But
2.0.
yeah. Hey man, imitation is the most sincere form of
Flattery.
flattery.
Yeah.
Yeah, you finished your sentence. All right, and all right,
It's
and
magic.
all right, and
Right, we're just getting some.
Trans is fixing shit.
Yeah.
Trans,
Right now.
I hate it when people come to my studio and they break my fucking shit. And then
Did
they
you hear
just
that?
fucking
When
walk
people
away
come
and
to
then
his-
you know what I hate? When the producer shows up only 15 minutes before the show and gets the studio ready then,
With a
Trans.
kebab.
With a
Alright, shut the
kebab.
fuck up. You don't want to be shanked tonight, right?
This isn't dinner time, Trans. Why you got a kebab over there, man?
How long ago was I in the studio? Shut up.
You came in
Yesterday?
the other day.
It's
well-
all right. We're staying on camera, I guess. What is
Yeah,
the
there we
next
go.
topic, though? We can just keep going. James doesn't look good on
Oh,
camera.
I
since
can
his
do the
haircut
next
anyway.
topic because I've got this open and while Semmler tries to fix. Let me just scroll up to the top. Okay, yeah, Navi announces intention to create Esport Team Association. This is just hugely fucking
Funny.
retarded.
Saw your tweet, yeah, that he had won the award.
I told him, like, it's when he tweeted it, because he was like, no more, he tweeted, and
No
his
more
end line was, no
suckers.
more suckers in esports, and I tweeted back to Alex, the CEO of Navi, and I was like, congratulations on the most moronic tweet of today, or something, which he ignored. Good
Go
for
figure.
him.
Yeah.
But basically, the whole situation came about, and we'll talk about it in the CounterStrike GO section. I think it's a better place to maybe have
Yeah.
a large discussion about it. But Navi went to Copenhagen Games. Shit went down. Navi
Shit
weren't
got
happy.
real.
Navi, yeah, Semmler knows way more, but we're going to go into it later. And this kind of spurred, I felt, Navi's manager, Zero Gravity, going just retaliating in kind of anger more than a concise plan of, hey guys, maybe we should have a team association. It's more like, fuck this, I'm going to get my friends. And then everyone,
Gotta get my posse.
that he didn't have any. So I don't think anything's going to happen, to be fair. But we're going to talk about it in detail. I don't know why we had to bring it up in this segment here, because it's a really
Yeah.
good talking point, because it is a really funny.
I know, it kind of sucks that we have to say, oh, and
Well,
stay
someone
tuned,
wrote it
here.
and we'll get
Stay
to it.
tuned.
It's a little
Yeah, we'll
teaser.
tease
That's-
it.
Yeah, it's a teaser.
All right.
Just
So
a tip.
is there going to be another G7? Probably not. We're going to
Stay
talk
tuned.
about it why in the CounterStrike GO section.
Yeah.
And some of our guys were on site, Semmler, so he saw everything what happened between Navi and the admins and
A shitstorm.
yeah, and basically what went down. So
But
that,
something
that
we
wasn't
can
really
talk
a
about.
piece of news. So I don't know what I said there. It was just like just being an asshole. Let's move on.
Yeah. All right. So something that we can talk about: IPL and Ubisoft Shootmania launch event is coming up. Actually, they're doing another 100K tournament. So IPL wasn't enough. They're going to go ahead and launch another one. It's coming up on the 6th and 7th
Well, this
of
is-
April.
This is like the replacement for the Shootmania event that was supposed to happen at IPL 6. They're basically still hosting that.
Sturmy's going.
And is it like the actual launch for the game?
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah,
the,
it
it's
is.
called
It's-
the launch event.
the launch
so
event.
I think it's kind of a they kind of had like a short open beta. I feel like it was like
I
Not
think
too
it was
long
quite
ago.
long.
No, it was a.
No, well, it
it's
was-
been out for a bit now.
I guess
At
I don't
least
know. I'm
5
so
months,
used to
6
these
months.
betas like Dota that just don't end. So yeah.
I've checked because they're on Steam now. I think. Am I right? Am I wrong?
I couldn't tell you that, my friend.
Let me check. All right. What's the name of the game? Shit, Mania. Yeah. So it's on Steam for like €18.
Also, notably, this is basically the last hurrah for the IPL brand. And who knows what's going to happen with IPL after this. I mean, today, Kevin Nock tweeted that he signed a new contract for his new job.
Uh-huh.
So he's out. Who knows where David Ting? He's probably going the same place as David Ting. Who knows what's up with all that?
I'm guessing they're contractually obligated to do this event, basically, so they're basically doing it.
Yeah,
So
pretty much.
Yeah.
It sounds like a good event. I don't know. When I read the announcement, there's always mention of an open bar at the event. So, like,
Drown your
I wish I lived in
sorrows.
San Francisco. I'd go there.
That's
It's
going to
like-
be the largest bar tab of any IPL employee. Fuck it, we're going under anyway. 20 shots. I'm just checking because the game's out on Steam, I believe, and I don't think Shoot Mania. No, Shoot Mania hasn't made it into the top like stats or peak of today at all.
Top 100 there.
Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know. So I mean, if you want to go to the event, you'll meet Sturmy, and if you haven't played Shoot Mania yet, better save your money. Otherwise, you know, probably just give it to charity instead of buying that game. Well, in fact, no, buying that game is charity.
Yeah.
So, how's your Dignity Shoot Mania team coming along, Newman?
They're doing quite well. They won the
They won this
Copenhagen
weekend.
event.
Yeah.
last
Yeah.
weekend.
How much did they win for that?
I'm not sure. I think it was 3K.
3K for first, yeah.
That's pretty good, 1,000 each.
It's not very good compared to 100,000, but
Yeah, still, it's a lot cheaper going there as well.
Are they
Yeah.
going to the launch event?
I'm not sure. Depends.
it depends. This
Yeah.
thing is like in.
It's like 6th
2
of
days.
April, yeah.
I'm actually not sure if they're going or not. Odie's crazy sometimes booking stuff like that.
I'd look it up, but I don't really care.
Yeah,
So.
nor do I.
Oh, shit, your own team, man. Talk about shanking people in the back.
All right.
Yeah, so best of luck with that event. Moving on, we have the top Twitch games for March 2013 has been listed. And the highlight of this is that Dota 2 has actually been higher than Heart of the Swarm as far as streaming viewers are concerned this week.
That's really interesting considering Heart of the Swarm is a new game.
Well, Heart of the Swarm, the first
It's not
10
really a new
days,
game, though, is it? It's kind of
like-
it's like an expansion pack.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
they had like 1.5 million sales, didn't they, the first 2 days? I mean,
1.1 in the first.
1.1?
Yeah,
Okay.
because everything was 1.1. Remember?
Oh,
those
yeah.
numbers?
1.5 was the
1.5 was
original game, wasn't it?
the 1.5 million.
I don't
uniques
know.
Or
That
something.
doesn't matter. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
1.7 was Wings of Liberty, I think.
Yeah, okay. It's still interesting in my opinion.
It'll be interesting this month because Heart of the Swarm only came out on the 11th and the beta was down, so no one was streaming it. But
Yeah.
MLG was a huge event that would have given them a huge bump in Twitch numbers. So I don't know. It's hard to say who's going to be number 2
Next month.
in April. It's going to be close, I think. But
I think it would be Dota 2.
It's a shame there's no.
Oh, wait, when does all the
there's no list of
WCS
actual
in Europe and
numbers.
North America kick off? Do we
Well,
know?
Kicks off.
they haven't said at all.
Ah, okay, yeah.
I think it's April.
Yeah.
But no date.
Well, yeah. According to the infogram thing, it says April. So
Fair enough. No, I still think Dota 2.
It's going to sit at the top.
Yeah.
A couple of interesting other things in here. Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate for the Wii.
What? What?
Number 20.
Call of Duty Black Ops, RuneScape, Minecraft is still up there.
Oh, yeah. All right, well,
So
there you
where's-
have it. League of Legends, Dota 2, Heart of the Swarm, and then World of Warcraft. Call
So
of
there's
Duty.
no CounterStrike GO in this list. So actually Monster Hunter 3 is bigger than CounterStrike GO then.
Yeah, that's kind of...
mhm.
Apparently, viewer numbers.
That's funny.
Well,
Call of Duty also had a big jump up to 5.
Yeah.
Fourth biggest esport title if you don't count WoW.
Let's move on.
yeah, let's just carry on here. And our last general topic for the day before we get into the StarCraft 2 news is that DICE are very interested in supporting esports for upcoming Battlefield 4. The latest installment in their Battlefield series looks pretty much the same. I think the highlight of this game is that you can destroy everything in the game. As Trance told me at great length throughout this weekend, apparently they've unlocked the engine and you can now level entire buildings rather than just walls. So
You always could like level buildings, but it's a bit limited.
you were
It
limited.
was
apparently.
actually mainly limited not off the engine, but it was the work that they had to put in to make things destructible. Yeah, yeah.
Right. This is when we need you to have a mic.
Anyway, the esports stuff. I mean, for Battlefield 3, when they launched it, they said that they've been basically looking at esports and building it for esports as well. And I mean, Battlefield 3 for esports was shit.
What's the problem?
It's
Two big
yeah, but
maps?
the interesting thing is that the best Battlefield game in the series for esports was the first one, because that actually had spectator mode. I mean, it's been basically going downhill since. It's a shame.
Yeah, but the DICE have now actually hired someone in a position of esport manager, I believe, or esport something for the company. Daniel, I think is.
He was the community manager for Battlefield 3 as well. So it's
but the thing is, I believe he's looking for people from his division in terms of coders and you know, from the team. And
It's
I'm
always
not
gonna
sure if
be-
he's
I
got
mean-
him yet. So they've got someone ready to do it, but they need to get put a couple of coders. And I also
They
think
need-
he's an uphill struggle because you need to explain to EA why you're doing
yeah,
this.
and they need the actual support in the game. It doesn't matter what they do outside of the game with tournaments or sponsor big tournaments. I mean, if they don't even have a spectator mode, it's gonna be shit.
Yeah, no spectator mode. It's
Yeah.
also.
But yeah, he seems pretty clued up on at least esports and stuff. Like I know he follows Starcraft and all that. So it really depends if he gets EA to see esports for the game as a
It's probably a much easier sell now with.
Yeah.
I mean, you compare
Should be.
Activision doing their Call of Duty stuff,
They
Blizzard
already
now
have
doing
the idea,
this.
since they're already working the Origin Twitch thing, and they let's get EA.
Yeah, I mean, they don't only need a manager for, I mean, the esports or community manager. They need basically esports people in the actual planning process of the game. Because they need to build a spectator mode and stuff.
Yeah.
And they actually
build it. I think
build the
it's
game.
just, yeah, you're
I
right.
think,
build
I
a
think this
spectator
will
mode.
be their best shot and one of their last attempts to do something in esports for Battlefield. Because if they don't bring it out here, it's just going to be potentially too late, as other games might captivate the audience. You know, with Call of Duty and other stuff. So
Yeah. I'm
it's
quite
like-
negative, but I mean, they promised Battlefield TV for Battlefield 1942, and then they promised it for Battlefield 2 as well. So it's we'll see what happens.
yeah. All
Basically.
right.
Don't hold your breath.
Well, we'll see.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
they do something good. There's lots of good people working at DICE at the moment, so
Yeah.
we'll see.
Well, unless they decide to
It's
shorten the
gonna sell
maps.
more than Reborn for sure. Though.
Huh?
Well,
It's gonna sell more than Reborn though for sure.
That's a given.
Unfortunately.
All right, well, we might as well get into the thick of it. StarCraft 2 news. Everybody's been waiting. It was the big Blizzard announcement last night, 2 a.m. in the morning our time. But
3.5.
4 or 5. Yeah, okay, I went to bed at 2. That's right. It was 2 hours more wait. But yeah, Blizzard announced their 2013 WCS plans, their events, what we were all waiting for, basically. We were kind of expecting to get it before the HOTS launch, get us up to date on what was planned for the year. It didn't quite happen, and now we finally know that they have decided to do a GSL-style tournament in each section, in NA, Europe, and Korea, where the top players are going to be able to compete, obviously. So,
Yeah. Do you want to bring up the? If you haven't got
well,
the
if
link,
we can actually
you can
bring
go
it
to.
up.
Oh, can we bring up stuff, Chance, or is it broken?
Yes, we can. We
You
fix
can
that?
go to Reddit.
Yeah,
it's,
we'll get
it's on there. But yeah, so Blizzard basically came in. We're like, yo, we're gonna create a storyline for this game, and we're gonna try and unify the companies that we work with and the players, and they put down 1.6 million in terms of prize
Money, yeah.
Yep.
Undisclosed amounts. supporting.
Undisclosed amounts to partners
Yeah.
like ESL and MLG,
And OGN and GOM.
and OGN and GOM. So what they did was they were like, all right, someone at Blizzard was like, okay, guys, last year people were saying that the storyline was hard to follow. And everyone was like, so we're going to fix this, they said. And they were like, BlizzCon, you know, it's good and stuff, but it really should be our world finals, shouldn't it? It should be awesome. So they decided that what's happening with GSL in terms of the Code S, the Code A, and the up and downs, and people are just doing crazy stuff in the background, so it's hard for me to keep my train of thought right now. But they'll take the GSL format, and they're going to rename it a little bit, but it doesn't matter if you know what the GSL format is. Code S is now going to be Premier, and they're going to have that in Europe and America. So ESL are going to be doing the European GSL, if you can call, you just want to call it that. MLG are going to be doing the North American, and in Korea they're actually sharing it between OGN and also GOM TV, and these companies are actually going to be able to broadcast each other's content, as far as I know. So
Yeah.
GSL is going to be on TV via OGN, but OGN also have their own commentators. So you have a great choice between Tasteless and Artosis, or Monte Cristo and Doha. And, you know, to be frank, that's not really a choice. Anyway, they haven't said what the prize money breakdown is going to be, but there is going to be more money for the Korean side of it, and probably significantly less for the North American. Now, it's not actually region locked, so if you're a Korean player, you can enter the European or the American kind of division.
Well, you're locked for the year, though.
But yeah, then you'll be locked. But the whole point is that these tournaments that you enter, that you're locked into, you're playing to get into the top 32, which is where GSL Code S has 32 players, and then you get down to 16, right? And when you're 16, you go
Sorry,
to offline
I'm
finals.
just laughing at stuff. What do you
What are
want
you
to know
laughing
about?
at? You laughing at those two
These
trying to
two,
figure shit out?
I don't even know,
I was just
man.
not pen the
So-
document beforehand.
Yeah, so the top end of the tournament, Mike will probably talk more about how it exactly works. But I'll maybe give my opinion a little bit later. But just, I don't know. You tell us how the top end works. And
What the whole thing,
well, no, it's more about...
what the
It's more
premiere
about you
thing
only
looks
need
like?
to be like top 5 at the end
Okay,
of your
so
season and all that shit.
they're gonna basically clone Code S into Premier in Europe and Premier in North America, and then you'll have 32 players. And they said that at very least the round of 16,
Yep.
the top 16 will be played in studio environment. So ESL, I guess, in Germany, and then I don't know if MLG will do it in New York or if they're building something else elsewhere. So then they've got these 16 players, and then from here you've got the top 5. Which, to me, this raised my first question. If you've got 16 players, why do you have 16 players to get a top 5? Like, it's an odd number, because it's like you get 8 to the round of 8, and then you need to drop 3 of those. So it's weird, but they've just cloned Code S, right? So you get the 5 from each, and then they go to an offline finals event, and there will be one more player if, like, when the offline finals has all 3 regions, and then one region hosts it. So when it's in Europe, there's an extra European player to make 16,
So
Korea
16
extra.
players,
Yeah. And then all of this, you're basically just earning points towards the global finals at BlizzCon. I don't remember what you asked me.
No, so that's pretty much what I wanted to know. So the problems that occur, if we can focus on the problems, the good thing is that Blizzard are putting in...
Well, the good thing is
prize
it's a
money.
shit ton of money. It's some regular content and that storyline, so a dimwit like you can follow it easier, James.
There's actual structure to the year. That's a
Yeah.
thing.
So the good news is, there is as you mentioned, it is a storyline because you're going to be able to tune in. You're going to get weekly Starcraft with either ESL, MLG, GSL still, and obviously Pro League. And then that will take you to 3 offline big finals, which will have 5 from each region, plus the hosts region will have an extra player to have 16, and that will be like your finals. And all these points will go towards making it to
And then the top
BlizzCon,
16 go to
which is-
BlizzCon.
yeah.
We've had.
Oh, you've already shown that.
Yeah.
So, good news is Blizzard put in prize money, 1.6 million. Other good news is it's a storyline that maybe, is followable and keeps your interest over the year. The bad news is, in my opinion, is that you only need 5 Koreans from Code A to play in the American,
North American.
North American division, and those 5 Koreans will probably qualify every time.
Yeah.
And
there's at least 5 Koreans living in the North
I
America
figured
right
that Blizzard were thinking, how do we make the European and North American leagues not shit in terms of what people watch? Because some of it's online, which is shitty. Like, you want as much offline as possible, especially if you got European and American players, because their interviews are going to be way better than the Koreans. How do you make it not shitty? Well, let's just diversify it and just have, everyone can play anywhere they want, really, which is really fucked up because it doesn't feel like the EU qualifier means anything to, Europe or the American thing to the Americans, because essentially what you've got it's like when you're in Masters League, when you're in Diamond League, right? You got 1 to 100 seeding, but you also know there's multiple more of people seeded 1 to 100. So it's weird. It's fucked up.
What is?
It's fucked up that
Oh,
anyone can enter and
Well, I
get
mean,
region
I
locked.
just look at it and I wonder how possibly more than like how North Americans are actually going to get to one of the. It's possible for one of them to get to BlizzCon. Like
Yeah.
I mean, unless EG is just like, nah, let's. I mean, it's funny for EG because they just filled out their Pro League roster and now they're like, we should probably try and put, some Koreans everywhere, right? Like, so.
I mean, it's up to EG and Complexity and the other
Yeah.
big North American organizations to be responsible as well and not basically import Koreans for WCS.
But it's like, it's kind of like.
I think for EG, the best thing would be to bring Huck back and have Idra and Huck basically try and play in the NA section.
Someone's gonna do it though, and once someone brings over a Korean, like it's that they made the rules to encourage. I think, I mean, even like if you're a Korean player and you're not in Code S right now, like you have a better idea to just qualify. I'm really curious because they've
but
also
there's no way of fixing it when Korea's got most of the best players.
I mean,
I think in the end, I think the structure they've outlined is really good.
No, but they should.
I don't think they can solve that problem. I mean, how are they going to solve? I mean, I guess they could say that they have to be
resident
citizens
for 6 months.
Resident for 6 months, citizens. I
Like
mean,
Polt is over there going to school, so to me, it's like if Polt wants to play North America, cool. But if Quantic wants to send Hyun over just to own Everin, it kind of defeats the purpose of a North American league. It's just like it's GSL 1, 2, and 3 if it's not region lock because it's hosted in North America. But I mean, it's kind of like goes back when you remember NASL being the North American Star League that has no North American players in it. Like,
yeah, I agree. I think 6 months would be a good.
Well, I just think
good time
like
limit.
they should have had a European storyline, an American storyline, and the GSL storyline. And if
will,
someone
though.
from Korea wants to come live in Europe or someone wants to live in America, like you say, X months, similar to how like Sase is in Korea, right? Like, sure, he can now enter the qualify through the Korean because he's resident there basically. But it's really going to water shit down because the European tournament, I want to see Europeans with European interviews. I know I'm not going to get the best games, but like I don't watch it as the high-end Starcraft to watch the best
part
games.
of the old WCS that was so good was like we have a national champion, we have a European champion, we have a North American champion, and a lot of that got kind of thrown out the window because no one cared about North America because MLG was going on at the same time. But that's like, it's like with this, we're going to be looking at WCG for national champions.
We're going to have 3 different storylines though for every season, so I think that's going to be a good thing. I think the problem, like we discussed, is that there might be Koreans in the North American one. Basically, I don't think there's going to be a lot of Koreans in the European one. I mean, 1 or 2.
I mean, Western Wolves is largely a European organization, and they have 2 or 3 Koreans
Yeah, but they
now.
have to bring in Koreans to stay in the
Well, the
European
thing is,
house, be residents
like,
in the European Union. It's not that easy for them to do that.
You don't even need to do that. All you need because
play online.
up until the round of 32 is online. So
Don't
it's
they
like,
have to be residents in the EU though?
No,
I think
no,
that's the rule.
No.
You can
There's
sit in
no-
Korea, you can play in the European.
You can just be like, I'm fine playing with latency.
I think I read that they have to be residents in the region
I
they're
didn't see
playing.
they
in.
read. The one thing is
No.
that they won't support you with travel costs. So unless you are living in the country, they won't support you with travel costs at all to make the event. So if you're trying to compete from somewhere else and then try and make it to the LAN finals, if you're not there, they're not going to help you with the plane ticket. Or at least that was in one of the interviews that we saw.
I mean, someone says how about the NA and EU players just play better and not complain? But the point is, it's like, if you want the EU and NA players to be able to play better, you need to give them an incentive in tournaments that they strive to be the best at and then go into others. But the trouble is, it's like, if the prize money is not going to be there for the North American and the European WCS, tournaments, because maybe it's less than Korea to start with, which it probably will be, but also if people just like, we're putting Koreans here, like, even if you put 10 in each one, which isn't many, they'll probably come out top 10 most of the time. And then the prize money that you're winning for being a pro gamer throughout this $1.6 million tournament might as well be
I mean, it really all depends how they format the structure, right? Because right now, when you look at Code S, I believe if you're in the round of 32 and go out, you get $1,400. So that's like a good amount of money. But it's like if they extend this in Korea to be like, if you go out at the start of Code A, you get that much money, and you get much more for staying Code S. And then in North America, it's basically like only the premier level players are maybe making a living. Then it's more incentive to stay in Korea. But right now, it's like if you're on Code A, Code S in Korea, you might as well just be like, yeah, I'm just gonna play online in one of these ones and fork out the money to go travel and stay there for
'cause if
2
you're top
weeks to play out the
30,
round of 16.
Well, if you've already made top 32 and you get a grand and a half, that's your travel costs for the top 16. So it really comes down to the prize distribution that Blizzard put up to incentivize where people are going to want to play and why.
I'm actually reading the FAQ on their website. It says that means it's possible you'll see Korean players who reside in other regions joining the WCS America or Europe.
So you're talking like Polt and Violet, basically, for NA.
I'm not sure how
No,
they're
wait,
gonna.
you said reside in, that's like, Holt lives in the States, so
Yeah.
he doesn't reside in a different place. This is like if Nested would join America.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on how you basically interpret that.
I mean,
sentence.
Apollo was live tweeting during this stuff too, and he said that players living in Korea could.
Yeah.
So.
We'll see.
And I think the storyline gets a little shitty then.
Yeah.
Because I'd rather follow European, American, Korean, let them meet 3 times, and then BlizzCon.
Yeah, because if you compare it to the LCS, the League of Legends League, that's basically they've got 2 storylines or 3 storylines like that as well, and I think it's really interesting to see. Because then they have these basically international games where they fly Europeans over to MLG or similar.
Now, one thing,
It's
what
really
do you guys
interesting.
make of the fact that they're using the GM ladder to qualify players as well?
I think it's really, really, really good in some ways and terrible in others because it's the ultimate level of accessibility. You know, a kid in high school who's a prodigy at the game can actually just get to the top of GM and crush people and then get into this league. At the same time, you can go to Google, type in Mac hack Starcraft 2 and be like, all right, here we go. So
I don't think that's going to work though. I think it's a really good thing that they're using the ladder because it encourages more people to play ladder and
This reminds us of a little something that happened in BLC,
enlarges
doesn't
the
it?
community.
Yeah, well, I'm
I mean, the runner-up, Daisuke, the runner-up of WCS America, was caught hacking on the ladder, right? So it's like you say, oh, it's not going to happen, but
it will
Yeah, I
happen.
mean it's going to happen, but I mean he's going to get caught basically. I think people are going to
Yeah.
get caught.
Yeah, but
So I don't think
of
it's going to be a
course,
big problem.
cheating is going to be one of the things that are going to take up a lot of time
Yeah.
for people to stop and make sure it's not happening. So that was 2 things I didn't like about it. Was like the online section was available. You know, it's not as cool to watch a tournament online. It's pretty like
it seems
content.
like they want to move away from that, though. And I mean, everything, it's like, shit, if this thing wants to start in 3 weeks, like, you can't really kind of blame them for starting that way. And hopefully it will be successful and they'll get more and more offline.
Yeah, and then
We should remember as well that Europeans might join the NA
Yeah, it's
tournament
possible.
as well. That's a
I mean,
smaller
Muslim,
step
I
than-
think, will certainly do it.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I didn't like about it, I felt that Blizzard chose the wrong partners. Basically, you got 2 partners in Korea, right? You got
OGM
GOM
and
and
GSL,
OGM,
yeah.
and in Europe you've got ESL and you got DreamHack. Now, DreamHack do a better job last year with WCS. ESL have done a
amazing job
really
last
good
year.
job though with Riot's products. I think it's LCS. ESL have a studio. DreamHack do much more entertaining content. Like, it's nothing against the Germans, but you're fucking boring. Like ESL haven't been able to put anything
Exciting.
exciting out since WoW Wednesdays.
I
many
love
years ago
WoW
was that?
Wednesdays.
But
I don't
it,
know
but
what
it
that
really is. The ESL are just like, and I was listening live on 3, and they're like, never underestimate Carmack, and I'm like, these guys have no clue. You know, you got Sebastian Weissar. He's known Blizzard for a friggin' long time. ESL have worked with Blizzard since like Warcraft 3 days. Uli, who they called Flying DJ, but Uli is now business developer at ESL, and he's worked really closely with Blizzard for a while. He actually left ESL and came back. I think he was at IBM for a little bit. So Carmack is like a big factor in terms of where the negotiations would go, and Live on Free credited him. But it's
Slasher, let's not.
Slasher, yeah.
Slasher.
Oh, it's more. It's. I think it's more Ralph. Uli maybe, but probably not. And then like, Sebastian, if he's still there. But ESL, I think they're gonna be stretched in terms of being able to put this content online, and the online content and the offline stuff, just because they have so much going on with Riot. But I also thought that what would have been better if ESL did the online stuff, and when it got to offline, you give it to DreamHack, because DreamHack nail the atmosphere and.
Do you mean offline as in the season finals?
Yeah, like the 16.
Or offline as in the 16?
16 man.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, maybe just the season finals, but I felt they should have worked with both parties. Now, obviously, I personally think it's a blessing in disguise for DreamHack, because DreamHack get to keep their independence, they get to keep their tournament, they get to invite who they want, and they let their product speak for them. Which means that you don't have to constantly work with Blizzard, which is still always going to be a pain in the ass. Like, you know, like you work with Blizzard, you work with Riot, it's going to take a lot of your time up. So hopefully they're paying. I don't think Blizzard are really paying that much to the North American and EU partners. I think it's more, we give you the contract and maybe help.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it's an awesome product. I don't think it's going to be an awesome product year one compared to year two. But they just want to dip their toes and see how it goes. Now over in America, MLG got the contract, and MLG have been the best offline events. But NASL, they built their whole company doing seasons online.
Yeah.
So I felt they should have used both of them and have NASL do the online and MLG do the offline. So basically, DreamHack are fine because they, you know, they're like, we still got our independence, we can do what we want. You know.
Well, the thing is, what's launching now for this regular weekday content doesn't compete with the offline events that DreamHack does. But when I look at what NASL does, and it's like their bread and butter is that weekly content. So I just look at it and I'm like, I don't see how NASL can have another season of Starcraft the way they did. Like, it's impossible to me.
I personally think NASL are completely fucked when it comes to doing another season of Starcraft. And I've been looking at their content for a little while, and I've been like, the Pulse, it's nice, right? I like the Pulse. It's a talk show similar to this, you know, a little bit higher production value.
Well, the Pulse has been all over the place with it recently because they did the one super casual episode, and then they did the one episode with Bruno hosting, doing the ESPN style thing, which I thought was cool. But they've been all over the place, and now they're doing all these other shows. So,
but some of their other shows are basically like, I would never put that show on a product that we had. You know, like this really. Like, it's not a show. It's not like you turn up and...
Yeah, Greetorp's sitting there teaching Lauren Lee StarCraft 2. I don't know.
Yeah. It's just not... You know, it's not... So I think NASL are going to move away from doing StarCraft 2 like their next season and focus on creating these little shows. And I personally think they should just move into Dota 2.
I think the only game they can do is... I mean, unless they get some sick, like, Wargaming World of Tanks contract or something, which I say is possible. That could definitely, like, you never know what the fuck is going to happen with World of Tanks, man. That's the wild card. But, like, in terms of a game with an audience, like Dota 2, if they just host a $100,000 online Dota 2 tournament, they'll kill it. Work with BTS or, you know, train their guys Dota. I don't know.
I mean, obviously, you got to let, you know, maybe they have to let some of the StarCraft talent go.
Well,
but maybe the StarCraft talent want to go to MLG to commentate their stuff.
Well, that's a good question. How many, like, MLG right now, obviously on staff, they have Axtos and Axlab, but this is how many days a week? How much stuff? Are they broadcasting the Challenger League stuff too? Are they?
I think an interesting thing in the FAQ as well is that all other tournaments with a Blizzard tournament license, they're free to carry on with their own stuff, but they're not allowed to broadcast it at the same time as
Exactly.
It was just
a
for
WCS
weekends,
event.
though. I believe it. Does it say?
Doesn't that mention weekends?
Okay. Because in the Mike Morhaime interview, he
Morhaime
said
interview,
it was
weekends.
specifically weekends. It can't collide. So, because if it wasn't weekends, then this would just outright kill NASL.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you've got 3 leagues producing content on weekdays.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless NASL is going like for the
2-hour window.
I don't know what
24-hour
time
day.
slot for the people in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, but, like, how do you think this is going to work out for Blizzard?
This I
I think for Blizzard it's good.
I think as long as like
How do you think it's going to work out for esports StarCraft 2? That's why.
really good. I mean, I think it's just more money for the scene. It's going to make things easier for the teams. It's going to make it like easier for teams to
just like to get one last-
better sponsorships. I think.
Raise
Go
one
ahead.
last question is the idea of oversaturation. Do you feel like we're getting into these grounds again, where now we're going to have every night and day, if you count the Korean time zones, every time zone basically you're going to have StarCraft. Granted, it is the same story, but do you think it's too much? Do you think there isn't enough hype building up to the matches if there's just a match every single day practically?
I think the majority of people are basically gonna follow their own region or
Follow their favorite players.
Yeah, select a region that you're gonna follow. I think that's what
It's-
people
it's
do with
kind of-
LCS as well.
I mean, with this much content, you kind of like it's really good to see the developers taking responsibility for what esports is to their game.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, developers have way less kind of. They're not as good as some of the top esport guys when it comes to design and rules and the system in place. That like Blizzard have done something. It's not as good as I think if I put a team together of 5 people and it didn't even have to be me and say design something for Blizzard Esports. So I never put any real trust into Blizzard and what they do. The only thing that makes this good for me is like they threw money at, there's prize money at it. Prize money for people, and that's going to help people stay in esports. But I can't remember where I was going with my point. But I think, what was the question?
The original topic was oversaturation.
It's the oversaturation.
Too much StarCraft. Too much every day.
Well, I think it's going to get a lot more boring sooner than people think. But I also, like, with esports becoming so big, that because there's going to be so much content, it's going to turn into football more, where people just follow their own team and their own players and their games. Like, like football fans will
It
only
took
go
a while
watch.
to just repeat
Yeah.
what you said,
Yeah.
Newman.
Just waiting for
Sorry, I was going
He was
off
like,
on one,
yeah, he was like,
and then I was like, where am I going with this?
Yeah, but the
And I
the
came
football
back.
or soccer analogy is really good because if you look at
Yeah.
Europe, for example, you have like 5 really good leagues,
Yeah.
and people can't follow all 5, so they basically follow their team in one league, and then
Yeah.
they follow Champions League basically. I think it's going to evolve into that probably.
And I do actually think that's good.
Yeah.
Because there's got to be a point where you can build something that there's something to watch for somebody every day, but not the same person every day. Because I don't think someone should be watching.
No one should be
football
watching
every
4
day.
hours of StarCraft every day.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, I mean, if they're doing like a GSL group, it's 5 best through. Wait, how many best through GSL?
it's better to have a
It's
massive
5
audience
best of
when like 2% of it watches something
Yeah.
basically.
Do you think their audience is going to grow from this though?
I think a lot of it really depends on the production quality of
Yeah.
it. Like, I mean, that's the thing. My view when I look at it is like people are gonna be like, "Oh shit, it's starting. This is it," and then they're gonna turn it on and compare it to what Riot does and be like,
They're
"Oh,
gonna-
this is the online stage. Not that exciting."
They're going
This
to
is
need to
actually-
tap the big player base they have as well.
I like
for viewers.
GSL is just going to be GSL still, right? It's not going to change
Nothing's
in
gonna
production.
change
There's a new studio, but
Yeah, the production will, I think, get better. I'm curious about how it will actually work in terms of like the finals, because it's like the top 5 go to the season finals, but then do they still play out the whole season the same way? How does the timing work? I don't know.
And then with Europe and America, I don't think Blizzard are putting in the resources that they should do to support the organizations. Hence, it already starts online, and GOM TV, is all offline, right, from the get-go. So, I think they're just going to be a pretty lackluster product from ESL and MLG. Like, I wouldn't never say like, hey, ESL, MLG, I'd really want you. If I was a developer, I would be like, I really think you guys are the people to really connect with our audience, because they're not. They're not those kind of companies. Like NASL is really kind of, they connect with the audience because there's a lot of personality on screen, and what they do, they still have high production value, but they certainly don't have the money that Blizzard have been leaking into GOM TV studio to keep that alive, so that Blizzard could then build esports in StarCraft 2 outside of Casper by just paying off GOM TV at the beginning of StarCraft, and then whatever. I don't think those companies are going to do a great job.
And they're going to still, ESL and MLG are still going to run their own events, and they're going to put most of their effort into their own events, I'm
Well, it'll
guessing.
be interesting because I mean, like ESL has been doing, I think it's the major series or whatever. It's their little small team. No, I'm talking about this is StarCraft 2 content, but it's their small little team league with like €4,000 prize, whatnot.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, just in general, everything on ESL's plate is like, they do a lot of
They
stuff.
do a shitload of things
Like,
at
that's
ESL.
a
It's
fuck
crazy.
ton of
Talking about
stuff.
CounterStrike as well. It's still running the EMS.
Both EMS
Yeah.
leagues. Then you've got the major series of Starcraft, and you've got obviously LCS is the big one. Now you've got this, which basically has to take equal priority to LCS.
Mm.
Yeah. They're basically running insane amounts of matches every day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's crazy.
big.
So anyway, I think the product's going to be underwhelming overall. I think Blizzard have put in money, which is good, but I don't think they really know what they're doing. And I think that they've made most of the decisions over in America and ignoring the European esports team, which are the most clued up in Blizzard in terms of esports. And it's going to be still a good year because there's money.
Yeah.
And then probably get it better next year.
Next year is going to be better. This year it feels very rushed. I mean,
Yeah.
announcing it in early April, starting immediately, it's
That's the thing.
It's late.
I mean, speaking of starting it immediately, we have the GSL Code S group that kicks off tomorrow.
Hold on. We're
I
not-
heard the contracts for MLG and ESL were signed at the event at the press conference.
Yikes.
And also, yeah, they were angry at Slasher, I believe, because Slasher was meant to announce his thing 30 minutes afterwards or something, and he did it 15 minutes. But they had agreed 15
shit.
minutes, and then they were like, "Oh, can you change it to 30 minutes?" And then he did it 15 minutes
He
afterwards.
probably got GameSpot a lot of traffic, man. He did his job.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Sold his soul to the devil. He took that embargo. He didn't leak it. Slasher. Could have leaked it, man. He could have done it, but he didn't. But two other things I thought were interesting about all this was that it's only going to be on Twitch, right? Like, it's not going to be on YouTube at all like Riot does. And I think
Yeah, just Twitch.
I think the YouTube stuff is nice. I mean, we're on Twitch here, but having it with the DVR stuff and whatnot. And also they said that like the partners are going to be able to monetize the VODs. So it's going to be ad supported. They can paywall like 1080p if they want. So it'll be interesting to see if they're going to have some premium package with 1080p and VODs and how much that will cost. And then the other kind of big thing I thought, well, it is a big thing, like Australia, Southeast Asia, China, nothing. And especially with China because they went to China for the BWC finals.
Yeah.
And
that's
now
interesting.
it's impossible for a Chinese player to actually, like I would have thought like, okay, maybe Chinese players can't play in the league ongoing, but they would still get one seed to BlizzCon at the very end. But
Aren't they allowed to move to like Korea or Europe though to play?
I guess,
Like,
but that's
yeah.
pretty hard for a Chinese person, isn't it?
I also want to know,
Yeah.
ESL and MLG can't sell sponsors to this, right?
I think they can.
Really?
I
Might
don't
be
know, I
able to
feel-
sell event sponsors for the actual events. I mean the offline stuff, but I'm guessing they're not going
Because that is really still essentially their business model. I mean, even if Blizzard said, here's a product, and if Blizzard said, here's a product, we're not paying you, but you can run it, and you can monetize off ads, it's tiny.
Yeah.
The business model might as well be the good studios, yeah? Which is rubbish. But so if Blizzard are paying into it, then I can understand if there's going to be no selling kind of, advertisement for the product you run in Europe under the Blizzard franchise. But surely Blizzard are going to have full control over who gets a sponsor and why and what price.
Yeah, it's
this is their
interesting.
product
I don't
after
know.
all.
They haven't, I mean, I guess we'll see if we still see that Hot 6 logo on GSL today, right?
I think that's going to be something that's,
That is definitely interesting. Other noteworthy stuff, I guess they said that Pro League and GSL will just keep going on.
Yeah.
And Mike Morhaime did mention that in the future they might look at that. So I kind of look at that and think like they, this is also short notice. They just couldn't get that in. And probably Kespa, because, I mean, Pro League is Kespa's baby. They own that. So they don't want to let that go. So that will be an interesting pickle.
I think from a team perspective as well, it's really interesting to see how EG and Team Liquid will do. They actually have players in Korea, and they have players in North America as well.
Yeah.
Really interesting to see how they actually do with their players, if they move them back to North America.
Does
or
EG
if
have
they
any
go.
players in Europe? Stefano, I guess, kind of. Yeah,
Stefano.
I'm
Stefano.
not sure where Thorzane is located.
No,
at the moment.
Thorzane's been in Korea for Pro
Mhm.
League, so. But I mean, that's a hard thing for Thorzane. I mean,
Yeah.
like, does he stay in Korea and basically not have a shot at WCS? Sorry, Thorzane, or does he go to Europe again, or even go to North America where it'll be easier? And I mean, I bet some Koreans might be like, all right, I talked to all my friends are going to North America, so I'm going to go to Europe, you know? It's just like, there's just this bluffing situation where all the Koreans end up in Europe and then none are in North America.
That's the
They're
thing,
all
I just see
they're
them
all bluffing
splitting
each
them up
other, and
once,
it's going to be like
so we're
50
gonna have a
Koreans
giant
in
meeting.
Europe.
It is, to sum it up though, it's one of the biggest things that's happened in esports for a long, long time. Blizzard's first
I wonder,
real commitment, I would call it. Because
yeah,
I don't
exactly.
think WCS last year was a real commitment. That's like, hey, we want to do some building of the different nations and continents. So here you go, partners. We're going to give you some money to run these events. And obviously, ESL, DreamHack, NASL, and MLG would have turned a profit off, doing this work. And now Blizzard are like, yeah, we're going to take more and more control. But with the control comes responsibility.
Do you have any thoughts is Blizzard trying to make money off this? Or they maybe use it to advertise other games? They'll put Blizzard All-Stars in there later just to advertise? Like,
I
why are they doing
don't think Blizzard are putting in a lot of money outside of prize money. And I think Blizzard are just looking to control what happens with their IP. I don't think there's an end goal, and that's what really...
I mean, would MLG and ESL do it though if they're not putting in a lot of, or at least some money to cover the production cost?
Well, the thing is, NASL would have taken it for free, in my opinion, over MLG. And MLG couldn't afford to let NASL have it for free. you know what I mean? It's in that one situation. If you've got the contract, you've got the best Starcraft online content. That's what you have. And Blizzard aren't going to be like, oh, you're running this for free and you can't pay anybody. There's going to be benefits, but I think those are in terms of being able to sell sponsors on it potentially and all that other stuff. But unless as I mentioned before, Blizzard are actually paying the company to run it, and then it's just hands off, and Blizzard are like, oh, we're actually doing everything. You guys are just doing the show, and Blizzard are selling the sponsors, making the rules. But Blizzard, I don't know what their end goal is really, like with the whole project, because to me it seems like I can understand I would never go as big as Riot, even if I was the size of Blizzard, because I just would be like, this is too much money to spend on esports because the return on the viewership maybe isn't as high.
The business model for the game in itself is flawed compared to Riot. I mean, Riot actually, the more people Riot can get into the game, microtransaction-wise, it's interesting.
So it feels like Blizzard are coming in this year, and this is more of a test year.
It seems to be
keep costs low, and then if it goes the way they want it to, next year will be.
Last year was not a test year, but I mean, if you're gonna keep switching formats every year, it's not gonna be very good for the Starcraft community either. I think.
I got a feeling that people will generally like the format to follow over a whole year in terms of storyline. I have the feeling they also won't enjoy the quality of the whole tournament over the year.
I think one really important thing for Blizzard though is to actually make sure people can follow the storylines we're talking about. I mean, are they going to have to go to ESL or MLG to follow the storyline, or is Blizzard going to do some online production?
They're going to have, apparently, in the interview with Mike Morhaime, he mentions a hub that's being put together by Blizzard right now.
Yeah.
So, eventually we will have a site that we'll be able to tune into and, potentially follow everything right there.
Yeah.
I mean, I think for Blizzard it's probably less important with StarCraft 2 just because Team Liquid has been around and they will make coverage, and other community sites. It's not like League of Legends where they have to make LOL Esports, because aside from that, it's just you've got the subreddit and that's about it, I think.
There's lots of LOL stuff, but I mean, I think they do need a central hub for this stuff at Blizzard, and I think even though Team Liquid is really good at what they do,
maybe that's what all the ex-IPL employees are doing now. They're the news writers. They've joined the community in esport management over at Blizzard.
Adding little flags before nicknames and stuff.
Well, in any case.
Maybe we should move on.
Yeah, we should go ahead and move on.
I guess.
Because
what did the poll end up? It was mostly
I think 95.
What was the poll?
And the like was 80.
What was the poll?
I'm kind of surprised. I would have thought.
Yes,
I mean,
no, maybe so. And maybe
it's
so.
like we're really good at talking about nitpicking things, but I think overall, I mean, I think it's a giant step forward, and it's gonna really help out. I'm just only really thinking about how many Koreans.
I just don't think Blizzard needed to design it themselves, because I think they would have had a better product if you took people that were better at what they do, which is esports, which is the esport industry.
I think they need to create the umbrella, basically, the central hub and then the point system. I think that would be enough.
Yeah, you really could. But they could have just bumped up people's prize money.
Yeah. I mean,
Everyone gets a better year.
I think in the end it's good for esports.
Yeah, it's a step forward. Just it's a shame.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Mike said, we're basically nitpicking.
I mean,
That's what it comes down to, because there's also announcements that are going to be.
all I
coming
know
out
is just
that-
let Kespa pick the maps, all right? Just please let Kespa pick the maps. They did it good. They won't.
Let's move on.
Codes groups are announced, so we talk
I
about
just
WCS,
wanna mention,
Korea,
by the way.
GSL. Go ahead.
Oh, never
France, what's up?
Oh,
No.
I just want to mention someone in chat compared Total Biscuit to Jesus Christ.
Does that scar you somehow? Does that
Yeah.
bother you somehow?
Yeah, it does. Now we can move on.
Now
Total
we can
Biscuit
move on.
did say all his. They're all playing in Korea, so. Axiom.
Yeah, Axiom has been confirmed for Korea.
Not
Saying
taking the
Total
easy way
Biscuit's
out,
a
Axiom, good
fictional
on you.
character.
You walk
Wow.
on water.
Codes for the fourth time now. Yeah, WCS Korea is kicking off tomorrow with the Codes, and we have one fucking hell of a lineup. It's basically the who's who of who's in Korea right now. It's just, I think that we should go ahead and bring them up. We can go ahead and take a look at them right now. And just go give a quick run through of the groups so we can know what we're expecting. April 4th, obviously, is going to be the kickoff date. So Group A, right here on the top left, you're going to have Roro, Crazy, the two Zerg representatives, and Creator and Bomber representing Toss and Terran. Hopefully Bomber doesn't nuke his entire army again. We wish him the best of luck. What do you think so far, Group A?
I think Roro is going to do very good in that group.
He's gonna, yeah.
I think we're going to see a lot of Mutalisks in that first game.
Yeah, and Crazy? What do you think? Chances?
You could.
Yeah.
These Kespa players are always wild cards.
Then Creator and Bomber, yeah. So
Bomber too. I mean,
it's just
Creator.
like-
I think I don't see Bomber being on the same level as these guys. To be completely honest, in my opinion.
hmm
You never know. It's two different kind of bombers show up, but
That's the thing. Well, hopefully he, we won't get a new GIF from him this time around. Group B, we have MC Flying Yoda and Dong Regu. It's just,
that's one of the
Multiple
group of
champs.
deaths right there. It's,
that is definitely it. Yoda, a monster, MC. I mean, they've all shown that they're really strong in the game so far, so it's really going to be interesting to see.
who
how
knows?
they
Maybe
do.
MC's going to withdraw and just go to Europe.
Could be, man. SK going to move him over there? There you have it. Would not be surprised.
MC was actually quite vocal on Twitter about this whole thing just being very disadvantageous for Koreans. So you can find translations on Reddit of his tweets, but they're quite interesting.
Well, yeah, there's perspective, I'm sure. I mean, there's going to be a lot of talking about it, but one thing that we have to emphasize, I don't know if we did, is that there are, it's not set in stone. There can be changes that can be made to the whole thing. So it's just really a wait and see moment for WCS in any case. Group C, Curious, Sue, SOS, and Marine King. I mean, again, a solid group. Wouldn't say it's the group of death, though. Group D, Tasia, Fantasy, True, and Lucira. I mean, Group E, Symbol, Shine, Keen, and Squirtle. Group, stop me if you want to add something. Group
No, I
F,
think we can just fly right through this.
Yeah,
I
we can
mean,
just go
Group
ahead.
F and Group G, those are the groups of death. All of it's going to be sick.
pretty much it.
Um,
You have G as well. I mean, it's, yeah, it's
I
just
mean, we
Group F
could
and
go
G.
through them all similar and do
And H.
predictions, but that would take a
I
long
mean,
time.
Hey, what was Group B again?
Group B was MC, Flying Yoda, and Don Regu.
Okay, that's good.
Do you have any predictions there, James?
Yeah.
You're a
well,
big
wait.
Yoda fan, right?
What was Group E?
Group
Did you say that one?
E, Symbol, Shine, Keen, and
There's no
Squirtle.
group E.
Ah.
What about?
I like A.
You
I
like
think
A?
Group K. What do you think about Group K, Semmler?
Group K is not there, motherfucker.
Oh, he's quick. He's fast today.
Yeah, man. No, it's just okay. It's really like you can almost disregard the first half. Yeah, Group B is gonna be sick, awesome. But like F, G, and H are gonna be just H because Flash is in it, and I'm really wondering how he's gonna do. But
You don't think B is stronger
F
than
and G.
C, but weaker than D?
no, I
Is it
don't.
comparable to G though?
What did you say was strong?
I'd say F and G are the best. Those are the ones I'm
Who's
really
in
looking
those
forward
groups?
Hmm?
Who's in those groups?
to. Your mom. And she's so big, she takes up all 4 slots.
Well, at least she's guaranteed some prize money.
Moving on.
You go, Mum.
Yeah, no. Hi, Lou. Coca
So,
Puzzle
speak to
returned to
you.
StarCraft 2 thanks to Project Dark Horse, the Slayer's gear sale and the venture there. Currently teamless, however, so nobody's offered them a branch to float with.
Well, they returned to StarCraft 2 because they wanted to return to StarCraft 2. They're going to DreamHack Stockholm because of Dark Horse, which is kind of fucked up in my mind because they announced Dark Horse is like this thing to raise money for like up and coming talents who don't have a shot. And like you've got 2 former Code S players here, one Coca who was like arguably one of the best surges at the time. So I'm happy they're going to Stockholm, but I think it's kind of messed up.
Hey,
Yep.
anything you'd like to add? Or
No,
were you jerking off the chat?
I was just seeing how they reacted to mum jokes.
Yeah. Oh, dude.
My dad's in
our
chat.
chat. They gotta love that shit. All right, Alive and Oz join Evil
Wants to
Geniuses to
talk
fill
to
out
you.
the Pro League roster, and this is actually something that we need to talk about, seeing as how all this emphasis going on into WCS now. EG still making investments towards Pro League. They bring over 2 solid players to fill out their roster and to fill out the team, and now he's kind of wondering, how is that going to go for them? Do you have anything to add on that, Mike?
I mean, I think they should have picked up Coca and Puzzle, but
Maybe they weren't
I,
on the market.
I don't know. These 2 players haven't been playing too hot, but I mean, they also weren't training under Coach Park, so I think if they're hungry to be good, they can be good. EG needed players. I think they still actually they have a big roster now at TL for Pro League, but I think their roster is still small compared to some of the Pro League teams. Like 1 or 2 more players, just they could use.
I'm guessing Stefano and Thorsten is not going to play Pro League next
Yeah,
season.
I can. I mean, Stefano, I think, is definitely not
Stefano,
going
yeah.
back. I think
He
he's
said
like,
he's not
I'm
going
tired
back.
of hating my life in Korea, so I think he's done. Thorzane, a bit more up in the air, but I can't imagine why he'd stay when he could compete in WCS.
I'm guessing the EG lineup is going to be Koreans only
Yeah.
from now on.
Pretty.
See no reason keeping non-Koreans in Korea.
Maybe
for-
Naniwa's going over for EG.
Could be,
I
man.
don't think it's, I don't think that.
He said he's going to Korea in 2 days, so I guess we'll find out soon. We still don't know his team.
Slasher, get to it.
Slasher's been messaging me asking.
You tell him lies like I do.
No, I can't do that to Slasher.
I always tell him.
Maybe next time I'll tell him some lie. That'd be fun.
James
But
told me to.
I'm too much of a softie.
Well, best of luck to them, of course, with the new EG lineup. DreamHack Stockholm, the first round of players has been announced. And even in CPG, people were talking about it. It was massive. Just so many top names. And we can go ahead and bring up the list here. Trance, if you want to come over to my screen. We can take a look. Not going to read them all. It's a bit much. But
Start from the beginning.
it is kind of...
No, please go through him. Semmler.
I know. Allow me.
I would like my mum to get another mention. I think she's in this tournament
Look
too.
good at the top. Feel good at the top. Hollywood Harding, where's he from? Millennium Adolf Scott FXO. Well, I'm not actually going to read those things, but so you have a lot, and really it's kind of the who's who out of Europe already. You have some Americans making it over. Ghost of User's going to be there as well, so you're going to be rooting for him, Mike. It's gonna
Okay.
be, yeah.
I think he's fucked. No, I might do okay. I don't know.
But
Oh,
I think the
obviously.
main thing, or the big talking point, is that Jaedong is going to be there as well.
I think, to me, yeah, that's huge. But also just how many Koreans are actually going to this. This is way more than they've ever had. And then also not announced players that have been confirmed that I think will come out the next round include Gumiho, Leenox, Sage, Yu-Gi-Oh, Violet, Coca, Puzzle, and I believe Polt too. So like that's another whackload of Koreans. So this
Yeah.
tournament
how
is
are
like
they? Yeah, how are they getting there? I know DreamHack aren't actually paying people to go
yeah,
like
yeah,
other
no.
tournaments do.
Their
So it's
teams-
really interesting to see that many Koreans
They're
coming.
doing what any team should do, send their players to fucking events.
Yeah.
Instead of
Well,
organizing
none of
shit.
them, aside from, I mean, Gumiho and Leenock are with FXO, and FXO has sent players to the MLG Open Bracket before
Yeah.
on their dime. So, and actually, an interesting part of this might go back to IPL 6 getting canceled, because when I see this list, we've got Sage and Yu-Gi-Oh from Root. I wouldn't be surprised if they were initially going to IPL. And then, I mean, Violet is from Azubu. Azubu actually has a poll on their Facebook of who to send. And then Violet is just absolutely destroying all the other players. So if you're a big Symbol fan, go
Sorry.
vote. But I think,
Turn it into
I
a
think it's going to be
popularity
Violet.
contest.
But yeah, it's not any of the, I mean, no Kespa players, right? So
There's
that
going to be
DreamHack,
WCS
Still
points at
MLG
DreamHack,
holding
though.
the
So
throttle on that one.
Say
there's
again?
going to be WCS points at DreamHack. So
That's
I
the
don't
thing,
know if
that's
there
the
will be
thing.
for this specific event, but there will be for other ones.
Yeah.
You can imagine summer and winter.
I mean, oddly enough, do you remember the partnership between MLG, ESL, and DreamHack was
Yeah.
announced? Someone seemed a little bit left out of the loop on that one. But at the same time, yeah, like Blizzard said that DreamHack are important to them or something. So you can imagine that there could be WCS points for this.
I
event.
think 100. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
maybe
no,
just
so-
because this
yeah.
one's so soon, maybe not, but the rest for sure. Because apparently Dallas didn't give points when. I mean, I remember hearing stuff like IM was supposed to or something. I have no idea. Like I don't know, but I don't know when they're going to start giving out those points. They haven't said anything about these points because I think for DreamHack it's actually going to be of tremendous importance that there's a good amount of points for these events, right?
Yeah.
Like
It's, I hope ESL aren't the distributor of how many points. DreamHack, 2 points.
well, do you know how the schedule actually looks? Because BlizzCon and DreamHack Winter, what's first?
BlizzCon.
Is it first? Okay.
Well, DreamHack Winter is end of November.
Oh yeah, okay. So I have because I mean, just like whatever last DreamHack stop, that might be the last chance to get some non-WCS
Might
WCS
be
points.
the first chance next time round, but probably not. Is in terms of won't make it. For Blizzard will be too slow, most likely on their 2014 plans, similar to how they were with this year.
Yeah.
But yeah, this DreamHack Stockholm is going to be fucking nuts, and I'm sure there's some other players here too that are good names that will be announced in the second round. So
Yeah.
I think this is going to be a crazy good tournament. And Apollo's going to be in some rabbit cosplay outfit for the first day or something.
Yeah, he lost a bet.
Yeah.
What?
So.
Oh, you missed all of this?
I missed all this. What
How
happened?
new are you, Semmler? How new? Come on. It's been for like a month now.
Apollo lost a bet with Carmack
That's it.
at
Cbit.
Cbit, and so he's got to cast the first day of DreamHack Stockholm in a bunny outfit.
What is it again? Was it
Well, it's a furry outfit.
Is it an actual
Furry
furry
outfit.
outfit?
Well, I don't know because I think those cost
Did this
like
come out of Carmack's
$700
closet or
or
what?
something.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So I don't know. I tweeted Carmack a little while ago saying like, make sure this is done because I feel like this thing could take like 3 weeks to ship or something if he has to buy one, right? So
Isn't the first day always like the group stage stuff? He's going to be in a studio somewhere hidden.
well, it'll still be on stream
Yeah.
for like hopefully at least like 30 to 50,000
This is DreamHack's
people,
answer
so.
to livening up the first day of the stream. You know, it's always a little slow. There's not too much going on.
Well,
Bam, Apollo and a
It's
bunny
going to be
suit.
great. I wonder what Artosis will wear sitting beside him. That's going to be the big question.
Yeah, Artosis and Apollo are casting together as well. That should be really good. Yeah,
what more
it's
could you
gonna
ask
be,
for in a commentary pair right there?
It's going to be a good event.
Yeah, it is.
All right then. So where are we going next?
We're going next is or where we're going next is the IPL has its final StarCraft 2 broadcast, and the IPTL finals. Oh, pardon me, MVP wins. That's that's what's there. But I have a picture here actually that we could bring up real quick just to give you an idea. Apparently during the final
Zoom in.
broadcast,
Controls.
we can go ahead and do
Control
that.
mouse wheel. Yeah.
But apparently during the final broadcast, they were actually in the process of stripping it. Yeah.
That's how we cast it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that must be depressing. God damn.
It looks
Yeah.
really
I must be
depressing.
depressed.
Is that the IPL offices though, or is that like part
Apparently.
IPL, part other cancelled
Yeah.
brands?
If that is all IPL, no wonder.
Yeah, exactly. That's what-
If it's IGN, sure.
But yeah, that's essentially it. I mean, stripped out IPL office. I mean, unless you have anything to add, Mike, that's really kind of
No,
the news there.
rest in
We've
peace.
been, yeah, exactly. We've been talking about IPL for a while there, so a little bit of nostalgia for everybody tuning in. But nope. Wow. Okay, never mind. It was added in. But GSTL continues with 2 Terran all kills by Bjorn and Sound. So the GSTL, of course, still in action. Stefano reiterates he's finished with StarCraft 2 most likely in 6 months in Razor Academy video. I'm not aware. I haven't actually caught this one. Do you know anything more about this?
Yeah, just another emo video. Basically, they filmed that MLG Dallas where he's like all sad and shit.
They made it feel sad as well, didn't they?
Yeah.
Made it feel
They
like,
have, like,
oh,
violins.
this kid's retiring. It's
End
like
of
a
the
big deal.
world.
It's really not a big deal.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's pretty good and he's entertaining, right? Like, I like talking about Stefano and I like hanging out with him. So, I hope he gets his groove back for this WCS stuff. And
He just wants to win money. If he doesn't win money,
yeah,
doesn't play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think he'll stay.
If he keeps winning,
Well, wait,
he'll
six.
probably stay. If he starts losing, it's not gonna.
Yeah,
Continue.
I bet it depends how he does in WCS. I mean, if he doesn't make it to BlizzCon, maybe he'll. Who knows?
I mean, he's been very clear about that. In the long run, he's always been about the money. And yeah, we'll go ahead and move off of that. Suppy is going to train in the EG Korean house. This is actually something that's pretty big. He's just released this, that in the month of May, he's going to be traveling to the EGTL house to train there in Korea with the rest of his teammates. Speculation as to whether this is a final move or just testing the water is out there, of course.
I don't think he's planning to drop out of school, so I
No.
think he's just got time. And who knows, maybe with the Blizzard announcement, he wants to stay because in May is when the offline stuff is happening if he happens to qualify.
I think he'll play in the North American region though.
Yeah, but I mean, he could not make it. He could lose in round of 32 to Koreans, so maybe he's got that
Yeah.
free time to actually go train. So it's good for him, though. He's a good dude. I like Giuseppe.
Yeah, no,
There
he's
you go.
awesome, man. He's a really cool guy. And it's, I mean, it's just going to be interesting to see how we always talk about that. You know, you have to go to Korea to train. You have to be there with the best, and the effect that it has on your gameplay. So taking a very solid, strong player like Suppy already and putting him in that environment, I mean, it's just going to be really interesting to see what he's
but
capable
like,
of.
what's he doing? Is he entering WCS Korea, America?
He's not dumb.
Or
I
Europe.
mean, he's at med school. Like, come on.
No, I mean, I think he can only.
Just train
I mean,
and play in the
Who
American.
knows? Because I mean, if he has to like, it depends how long like WCS America takes. If the offline section, you have to be living in New York or wherever for, you know, a 3-week period.
Yeah.
He might just not be able to play WCS, right? Like,
I wonder how long the offline sections will be. I reckon there'd just be a weekend, 16 players weekend.
that's kind of half-assed.
Yeah, I'd rather it last. I'd rather it last a
Seems like
week.
Because, well, I mean, if you think about it, you've got 4 groups of 4. If they're just porting over the code S, right? Like 4 groups of 4, each one of those is a day, and then you've got, you know, your round of 8 semifinals and finals. So
It's gonna be a week, I think. They're gonna milk it.
So
But then are we going to have time, you know, between seasons? How much time is there going to be between seasons to reset everything and get everything rolling again?
not a whole lot, I don't think.
No, I mean, it seems like they're really going to be strapped for time if they want to pull this off before October.
Unless they had 2 partners for each region,
Mhm.
and then exchange who's doing alternative. So it gives the one partner.
Well, they're
like,
doing
a
that in
whole-
Korea, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Korea's going to be.
Well, it's OGN and GOM already. Kind of the who's who. But moving on now from Suppy, we have LGIM. Happy has retired. He's returning to study in Japan.
Good for him. Well
Yeah.
done. School's
FX
important.
School. Well,
Yeah, it's kind of surprising. He's like a
That's
consistent. He's been in Code S for a lot, so it's kind of surprising to see him retire out of nowhere. But life goes on.
and let's see. More team pickups, actually. FXO Korea recruited Showtime and Hope, bringing them onto the squad. And that's kind of all there is to be said about that. I don't know. Mike, do you have anything to add apart?
No.
That's good? No. Pretty much. And to wrap up the StarCraft 2 series, that's been going for about an hour now, so perfect. Ziki wins TLS Grand Finals.
Okay.
There you
Okay,
go.
then.
Nice to know.
Congratulations to him. Well-deserved victory. All in all. looking
TLS was Brood War, right?
Yeah.
You tell me.
I think it was.
It was indeed. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean,
Well
it was
done.
ZVZ fight. Like I watched it, but like ZVZ Brood War, it's kind of like they did a show match with C afterwards, which was like entertaining. So I mean, if you want to see some Brood War, you know, go take a look. It's cool for nostalgia's sake, I think. And Team Liquid, I think, did a great job, and it's cool that they're supporting that. So
Who was casting it? Do you know?
Sale and
Yeah.
Elegant.
So Sale was on the job. All right, well, everybody, we're going to take a quick break. That's the end of our StarCraft 2 section.
Oh,
When
can we have
come
a bit of
back-
a break? We've been on camera
It'll
for an
be a
hour, 20 minutes.
A little bit of a break. 5 minutes.
At
10
least
minutes.
5 minutes.
And when we come back, we'll be covering CounterStrike, Dota, and the rest of the esports news. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the good show. We're getting into the second half of the show now. And to kick things off, we're going to actually cover CounterStrike. So we're going to be talking a bit about what happened this weekend with CPG, or pardon me, Copenhagen Games, as well as a couple other topics. But first off, I'm just going to go ahead and say congratulations to NIP for taking yet another tournament. 85-0 win streak on land. They haven't dropped a single map yet.
That's insane.
It's insane. It's insane. And you ask around, and you're like, has any of this ever happened? Like, has this happened before? Nobody can tell you. It's never happened.
When I played Battlefield, we didn't lose a game for 11 months, I think. But the competition is a bit less in Battlefield.
Yeah, I don't believe there's anything really been done like this before, and that I can remember at least.
No.
And but it's also like people like, Mike said to me, how is it even possible? It's like, well, you take the best players at the end of Counter-Strike 1.6 and Source, you put them on a team. Like, you could have a similar thing happen in Quake if you took Ice Climbers, Toxic, and Fox, and then took 2 more TDM players to play with them every tournament onward, and it would happen. So it can happen, but it looked like NIP took it seriously from the get-go, and when you get Forrest in the team, like, that kid's just insane.
I think
Get
it's
right
interesting
as well,
to see.
but
Look at the reason it's happening. I think they have really good conditions, training
as well
from the get-go. If the other teams didn't really transition that well. Most of them played 1.6 for a while and tried out Go. And the streak is obviously going to end this year. It's going to be interesting to see if they reach 100 games.
Speaking of Forest, also, the streak almost did come to an end with Virtus Pro. The Virtus Pro match, they came so close. They were just a couple rounds away from taking it, and then Forest just comes out of nowhere and dominates for like the next several rounds and puts things right back into it.
Yeah, he's just one of those players. He's one of the most talented gamers I think I've ever met in esports in terms of how good he is across not only this game. I played a Quake 2v2 with him, and he played really well. He was on my team, we won, and I was like, dude, you shouldn't be doing 7k damage. And I was like, you're a CS player, but you played really well. So he's really good at Dota as well. But it's a combination. It's like, it's the star players, it's the people that were motivated to do it. And that is, you're always going to be one of the best if you're one of the most motivated. You look at Fatality in Quake as well. Like, he was one of the most motivated even early on. And then the conditions are really good, like NIP, racking in the sponsors.
They just keep bringing them in.
Yeah, so I'm sure that team is just happy playing full time and doing a great job because of it. So I reckon they could get to 100 games. I think it will be hard. The 100 maps, it will be the hardest to do out of even the 85 now. But well done to NIP, and Western Wolves came second.
Yeah, Western Wolves came second. However, that match, it was a complete stomp, 16-2 in the finals. It was one map coming up from the loser brackets, and Western Wolves just got trounced. But still, Western Wolves, they were obviously happy with how they finished. They still got second, and they lost to NIP. So, really fantastic tournament for them as well.
All right, and that brings us to Na'Vi.
Exactly. That brings us to, the centerpiece of the Counter-Strike news is what happened with Na'Vi at Copenhagen Games. And I suppose we can start it all off with what happened is, in fact, the Na'Vi arrived late the first day of the competition. And they arrived roughly half an hour late behind. Everything was scheduled to kick off at 10 a.m.
Everyone was told to be there at 9.
Exactly. All of the other teams, everybody involved, were all there 9, getting prepped, getting ready.
There was some of the wording. It said we start at 10, or you have to be here at 10, or things like there was some weird wording at least in the rules. Was that correct?
Apparently there was. There was some weird rulings, but it's also just like
it was like a posting, and it said it starts at 10, and that meant the
10.
game starts at 10.
But what do you expect starts? You kind of expect, okay.
So what
10,
time did they turn up, Na'Vi?
And they turned up around 10:15.
Okay, so already
they had the admin approaches them and says, you have 5 minutes to set up your PC and get the games going. Obviously, one of the PC suffers because updating drivers, etc., doesn't take off, and there's the delay. So they get informed that, okay, you're down a map in the series, and you have to play from here. That was essentially the root of the problem, because throughout the day, Na'Vi still played well. They still played
well. They actually won that game when they were down a map, right?
Exactly. They took it too, because it was an underdog. I think it was D3X that we're playing against, and it was actually a bit of an underdog team going into it. So they didn't do too hot, but still. I mean, Navi still went through the entire day. It ended up into a 3-way tie, basically, at the end of the day. And the deciding factor was whether Navi were going to wind up in first place in the group or Fnatic were in the end.
But okay, so basically off the rules, they counted maps.
So yeah, that was where it gets a little bit fuzzy. It's that in the rules, it doesn't clearly state whether it's going to be maps or rounds that are going to be the deciding factor in a 3-way tie like that.
They didn't say points.
Exactly, they say points. And so that was where Navi, tried to get in there and say, well, if we go by maps, Fnatic is first and we're third, and we're put straight into loser bracket. But if we go by rounds,
Yeah, but like,
we're
what was
first.
it decided before Navi even spoke to anybody?
Yes, they were going to go through.
Yeah,
Right?
but what
As
was it
in,
decided to
the
be
decision
counted?
the decision was apparently that they were going to be put into the lower bracket
Because
after the match with Fnatic. After those results.
So the admins said it's maps.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the thing. And
Before they even spoke to Navi and Fnatic, right?
exactly.
So they were like, okay, it's going to be maps. So that means Fnatic are first, Navi are third.
And this is coming up when they're calculating the groups at the end of the day. So playoffs are supposed to start at 10. Navi figures this out, gets the news that, we're actually going to be here. They protest, Fnatic counter-protests, and then it goes from there into the 2-hour
So Navi
delay.
basically wanted them to change it to rounds.
Exactly. Navi was trying to make it so that because it was points, they're like, that's unclear. We could say rounds here. The admins, this is where they made their mistake because admin's word is law. They shouldn't have, if they say something, that's the way it should be. If they say it's maps, it's maps. But this is where they gave ground and and where the discussion came from is that then they were like, okay, we'll go with rounds. So obviously Fnatic are like, what? They come back, counter protest, then the admins go back to maps.
Because
And
it was the original decision.
Exactly, it was the original decision.
Okay.
And this is when Navi basically, everybody, it's the discussion, everything's going on. You walk over to Navi, they're not there. There were like 2 of them, still with their PCs set up, but the rest of them had left. And basically Navi walked out on the event. That's what it comes down to.
Because they were put in the lower bracket based off,
Based
Okay.
off of that ruling. And so they went into it claiming, it was the admins, we were treated with disrespect, they weren't clear. Basically everything that they could come up with to say that we shouldn't have shown up late for the event. Because had they not lost that map, well, then it would have been moved.
Kind of funny using the disrespect card when
Yeah.
they show up late for the tournament.
And that's exactly it. When every other team is there getting prepped, and all of a sudden it's like, oh no, we're going to be there 15 minutes late.
Okay, so the conclusion of this was Navi decided not to continue playing in the tournament, but still turned up to the next day
They
and hang
still
around
turned
the
up and
tournament.
did interviews. And
It's really
everything.
weird, isn't it? I think Mike mentioned it.
Oh,
It's like,
yeah.
It's like
We're walking out.
we're walking
All
out.
right, we got
yeah.
nothing to do. Fuck it. Let's just go hang out, I
That
guess.
was the thing. You
Like-
walk up and it's like they're getting interviewed by VP, and you're like, wait, what? Like, why is Edward here? Why are they still here? It was a
Maybe
very odd
boycott
thing.
means
Really.
something else in
Yeah.
Russia.
But that was actually where a lot of the drama stemmed from afterwards, was the reaction of the CEO, who we spoke of earlier, who we mentioned in the first general news, is Alex Zero Gravity, actually came out with some pretty, tweets stating that everybody, all press, journalists, teams should boycott the event, stop watching the streams, boycott CPG.
So this is a really funny situation to me because it's kind of like CounterStrike 1.6, Navi were huge, and Internet Stream Masters were huge, and it was all very well run. Copenhagen Games is a very small blip on the map in terms of esports. Yeah, it's still a nice event, but you don't treat it as an IEM or an MLG or a DreamHack per se, and maybe you
I
got
wouldn't
that
call it a
vibe.
small blip. It's one of the bigger events in Scandinavia.
Now.
Yeah.
Or are we saying now, or...
Yeah, I mean,
Surprise.
they've been
The
growing.
competition-wise.
No.
Competition-wise, man. And so it's kind of like Navi expect something which is an IEM, and they get a Copenhagen. Sure, they might not be happy, but that's what they got. And that's what, so at the end of the day, Navi, like their brand image, in my opinion, has kind of been doing this. I mean, Dota 2 stuff, Alex, his YouTube, the Counter-Strike team, they were better when they were just winning shit and didn't say nothing. They were like, we'll let the games talk for us, yeah? So, he made a tweet, Alex, and I had to reply to it because the moment I read it, I was like, that's fucking stupid. It was like, we are going to initiate the Esport Team Association, like no more suckers in esports anymore. And I was
No
like,
more suckers.
Yeah, no more
It's such a
suckers.
And
funny
it was in
line.
caps, too.
Yeah. I was just like, oh my god. So the whole idea of having an esport team association is fine. Like there should be association for teams. There should be an association for players and leagues.
Yep.
There's no reason, you know, they're all good ideas and they could all work. What isn't a good idea is saying that you're building a team association while calling everybody suckers and building the team association because you had a hard time at Copenhagen Games because you turned up late and things didn't go your way.
Yeah.
And you still could have played out the tournament in the lower bracket, but maybe you wouldn't have made the finals. Who knows? Who cares? You know, and you know, we spoke about what Blizzard did and we nitpicked at Blizzard, but you know, Blizzard are taking control of how esports works for Starcraft 2. What I don't think we need is Alex and the Russians figuring out how esports is going to work for all the teams. So the whole concept of it, it's a fine idea. Didn't need to say shit on Twitter. Could have just spoke to the teams and set some ground rules. And
there is a team association in the works, sort of.
yeah.
I mean, it's not him that started. It's been around. I mean, unofficially for a while. It's just, I mean, this is just crazy. It's
Yeah.
almost like a crybaby not getting what he wants.
Yeah.
Basically,
It
go
really
crazy on
seems
Twitter.
really, really stupid. And like the last, like G7, if people don't remember, G7 had some of the top teams, and to name three of them, like there was SK, Fnatic, and EG. And basically, SK and Fnatic were like taking each other's players, which are against the rules of the G7 in terms of contracts. And Alex Garfield came in to look at it and say, and you know, from EG, and he was like, well, actually, no, Fnatic, you can't do this or something. And Sam was like, I don't care. And then it was like, well, there's no point in that being a G7 because the people in the G7 don't even abide by their own rules.
And half of the founding members of the G7 went bankrupt as well. So that's
Yeah.
it's funny.
So it's, yeah, but it is really important that there is an association with teams to look after the team in itself and how it gets treated by leagues and people who pay prize money to the players. But there's also should be one for players to make sure they get treated fine by the teams. Etc. So it's not a bad idea, but I don't know what Alex was thinking in terms of we're going to revolutionize shit and no more suckers in esports. And
It's just that line. It's just that line. Like, okay, you're going to initiate a federation. Just why the suckers line? You didn't need to add it. Well, in any case, that was kind of the big thing. I did feel like it took a lot, or not a lot, but it kind of affected the atmosphere of the event, because going forward after that, it was just like the event was delayed 2 hours because of all of this. Then they played until 3 a.m. and they still had to get up and play at 10 the next day. So the players were just, I mean, everybody was unhappy going afterwards that night, and
and I can understand,
had their impact.
Alex's passion and for his team and the tournament that he was in. I can understand, like, sure, he in my opinion, still overreacted, but it's. You don't expect to see that kind of shit from a CEO.
No, I mean, you see that from like a player when they're like emotional and they're like, forget it. But like for someone in his position to come out and just do all this knee-jerk reaction stuff is, I don't know, just a big blow to his image.
Yeah.
Like,
It's a blow to his image and Arby's
and
image.
the whole brand. Yeah.
And also, for the fans.
It doesn't stop there as well. It's been blogging about other stuff as well.
Yeah, he has.
Yeah, he's like, I think we got it in the document.
Yeah, we
Well,
can go ahead and show
the
you.
new one, I think, backpedaled some on this, where
What, the responsibility?
Manifesto responsibility.
yeah, like there was some backpedaling in there. I mean, because the Copenhagen, the guy behind it came out and made a post, I think, with HLTV.org, and they were considering banning Navi. So,
Well,
I don't know.
there's also there's so many points of view. I mean, Richard Lewis also wrote an article on Cadred. You can go check out Gonzaria, where he just actually went through a lot of Navi's history in events as well, why they have such a reputation and why they do what they do in a way. Didn't shine a positive light, but still there are some good points made. So I mean, HLTV.org, there's write-ups there. Cadred, there's write-ups there. I mean, everywhere people are talking about this, at least in the CSGO community. But go ahead and moving on. Let's go ahead and just move on. Unless you have anything you'd like to add more.
No, not really. I guess we got to take another break before we get out of CounterStrike to bring in Bruno, but we got one more CounterStrike thing.
Yeah, we're just going to go ahead and mention this. You can find this at cadred.org as well. It's the Mad Cats CSGO Invitational in Birmingham. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Yep.
yeah, it's that gadget show, right?
Birmingham.
Maybe.
Birmingham?
No, I got it. Show was just right now actually. Oh, never mind. I'm in it.
I know my
It's that
CS:GO
gadget show,
Newman.
yeah.
Don't doubt my CS:GO knowledge.
Well, 10,000
shows
pounds
long-
are on the line, and
long
the
events.
first 6 confirmed teams are Team Very Games, the French, Kick, FM Esports, Toxic, Nexus, Team Dignitas, and Reason Gaming.
Is this going on the same time as Star Ladder then? CS:GO is big as Star Ladder, right? Like, isn't that where NIP is going?
Yeah, they're there.
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Fnatic is going as well to this event.
Okay.
Mad Cats.
What's the gadget show like anyway? Because I know you've
It's a
been
big expo, basically like CeBIT, but really small.
Yeah.
Gadget show is is a tech show in the UK, and I
Is
think
it in
Channel
the-
5, isn't it?
Is it in the Birmingham NEC? The Birmingham NEC
Not
arena.
sure.
I think, it's
I think it
called.
used to be.
Used to be. Yeah.
Yeah, it might be this year as well. I'm not sure, but it's usually quite good. I mean, it's a big tech show basically.
Do people care about esports though?
Most people don't. It's like an IEM thingy where
Mm.
they put an esports show inside of an expo.
Yeah, a gadget show,
Mhm.
essentially.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Well, makes sense. In any case,
It's a good way of bringing in more people to esports, though. I mean, making it bigger. So, yeah.
every little bit, man, every little
Yeah.
bit. There's no wrong in this. It's definitely good, and it's good. It's great for CS. I mean, 10,000 pounds is not anything you want to laugh off. So,
I'm surprised like Kick Esports are going.
are they? Do they have a
Portuguese.
history? I haven't heard that much about them.
They've been a big, or not a big, but they've been they've always been a team in Source, CounterStrike Source,
Okay.
going to UK events. I mean, it's basically a tradition for them going.
Okay. No, we're done.
Team
That was-
Dignitas. How's
Oh,
their
yeah.
shape looking?
They did quite well at multiplayer last weekend, so I think they'll do well.
Yeah, and also Team Dignitas. Might as well mention it. There's a good interview out there as well. I think Richard Lewis did it. So
The one with Johnny Rico about Team Dignitas?
no, it wasn't Johnny Rico. No, but they covered a lot of
Did he
because it's a
flame
new
you,
team,
Johnny
it's a new
Rico?
lineup.
Enrico?
Did he flame your organisation?
I watched
think
it.
so.
He
I
didn't-
think so a bit.
He didn't.
That wasn't
really
with Richard, though.
flame. Yeah, he was more kind of just like, I
Lied.
wanted a salary and they didn't want to give me a salary. Pretty much. That's.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Figured.
figured.
and now he's looking for an organization.
He did better than
Still.
Bling.
How did Bling do?
I went out in the first group stage.
Okay.
Aye. Dota 2 when we come back.